Welcome to Impact News Hour on First Next News Port Harcourt. First, we bring you the headlines. Federal government orders night repairs on failed Lagos-Ota-Abeokuta road. Defense chief reaffirms troops' commitment to crush terrorists. Bandits killed 5 in fresh attack in Benue community. Now the news in details. The federal government has ordered the immediate commencement of palliative works on the Lagos-Ota-Abeokuta road to address critical failures and restore traffic flow. Minister of Works Dave Umahi, who gave the directive during an inspection of the federal highway linking Lagos and Ogun State, said that although about 22 kilometers of the road were assessed, active intervention will focus on approximately 18 kilometers of the most distressed sections. He explained that the federal government is already handling about 60 kilometers along the corridor, with construction being executed in phases based on urgency. The minister attributed the failures on the road to unresolved concession issues and incorrect engineering parameters adopted during earlier construction. According to him, repair works will commence immediately, mostly at night, and will target sections that currently hinder the free movement of vehicles. Umahi added that a second phase of the project would involve full resurfacing, replacement of bridge expansion joints, and installation of solar power street lights. Moving on, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Olujede, has declared that the Armed Forces military will give no quarter to adversaries confronting the unity, peace, and progress of Nigeria. Olujede made the pledge in a goodwill message to mark the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day, where he paid glowing tribute to fallen heroes whose sacrifices, he said, secure the nation's freedom and democratic ideals. The CDS commended troops currently deployed across various theaters of operation for their professionalism, courage, and loyalty, saying their operational successes had continued to strengthen national security. He said their battle scars remain enduring testimonies of valor and an unyielding commitment to defend Nigeria against both local and trans-border threats. Olujede emphasized that troop welfare remained a top priority under his military strategic philosophy, which focuses on enhanced jointness, improved wellness, and sound administration to reinforce the armed forces' operational posture under a whole-of-government approach. Away from that story, the Nigerian Customs Service has announced the commencement of a new standard operational procedure for regulating courier companies operating under the Deliver Duty Paid regime. The new framework provides a unified framework for registration, manifest submission, declaration, valuation, clearance, delivery, and compliance monitoring in line with global best practices. The newly implemented SOP set out a unified framework for courier activities covering registration. The DDP initiative, according to a statement by the NCS spokesperson, Abdullahi Mawada, derives its legal foundation from International Chamber of Commerce, Incoterms 2020, relevant section of the Nigerian Customs Services Act 2023, the WCO Safe Framework of Standard, the revised Kyoto Convention, the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreements, the NCS Courier Clearance Guidance, and the Nigerian Postal Service Act 2023. Customs said under the newly commenced procedure, Coral companies intending to operate the DDP regime are requested to obtain a license from the NCS Headquarters License and Permits Unit under the Tariff and Trade Department. Still in the news, bandits have killed 5 persons in a fresh attack on the Otobi community in Otukpo local government area of Benue State. Among the victims is a House of Assembly candidate for Otukpo Agba State constituency on the platform of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the 2019 general election, Igbagbe Oche. The attack, which happened at about 1:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning, followed a Sunday night kidnapping attempt at Ugu Ora Odaba in Otobi, followed by the Community Volunteers Guard Commander, Ocheme Jackson, and his Teprom, a high-security alert in the community. Local sources confirmed to newsmen that the community had been singled out by suspected headmen for attacks, following the killing of 13 persons on April 15, 2025, and another attack that claimed 3 more lives in May 2025. When contacted, the president of Otobi Community Development Association, John Onyegbe, said the attackers came through the railway station bridge from the Ijami part of Otobi and headed to where the victims were sitting, not far from the Transformer Junction. The Benue State Police Command is yet to react to the incident. In Rivers State, the Rivers State Governor Similaye Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu, have been served with notice of allegations of misconduct by the state's lawmakers. This was disclosed by the chairman of the House Committee on Information, Petition, and Complaints, Honorable Enemi Alabo George, who insisted that the impeachment process was on course. George said nothing would stop the ongoing process and stated that the governor and his deputy had already been served. In another report, 2 members of the Assembly, Honorable Silvanus Nwankwo and Honorable Peter Abe, have withdrawn from the impeachment proceeding against Fubara and Odu. Nwankwo, who is also the minority leader of the House, represents Omuma State constituency, while Abe represents Degema State constituency. Addressing journalists in Port Harcourt, the 2 lawmakers appealed to other members of the House to reconsider their position on the matter and pursue peaceful dialogue. Additionally, Abe noted that even though the governor has refrained on certain aspects of the Constitution, there is a need to pursue an amiable resolution to this impasse. Moving away from that story, former Sokoto State Governor and ex-Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal, has said elections in Nigeria are not entirely determined by the will of the electorate, citing systemic flaws and compromises within the electoral processes. Tambuwal, who made the remarks during an interview on television program, argued that while Nigerians turn out to vote, the final outcome of elections is often distorted during collation. According to the former governor, politicians routinely explore loopholes in the electoral system to manipulate results, particularly during collation and transmission of votes. He also blamed part of the problem on the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), alleging that some officials of the electoral body compromise the integrity of elections. The former governor, however, expressed strong support for reform aimed at strengthening Nigeria's electoral framework, including the adoption of electronic transmission of results. Moving on, People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Edo State has called for the immediate and unconditional release of 52 students of Ambrose Ali University, Ekpoma, who were remanded in prison following their alleged roles in last Friday's protests in the town. A statement by the party's publicity secretary, Dan Osa-Ogbegi, condemned the continued incarceration of the suspects, most of them AAU students, describing it as oppressive, unlawful, and a clear abuse of authority. The PDP insisted that the protest was peaceful, lawful, and protected by the Constitution, warning that Edo State was sliding into a pattern of punishing victims while shielding perpetrators of violence. The party also criticized what they termed the state government as weak response to insecurity in Ekpoma, alleging that the town had been left at the mercy of kidnappers and violent criminals, with residents living in constant fear as attack continued unbedded. Osa-Ogbegi accused Monday Okpebholo's administration of mishandling the deteriorating security situation in Ekpoma and surrounding communities, branding its approach a blend of incompetence, authoritarian instincts. He argued that only a government fearful of scrutiny will seek to criminalize civil protest. According to the PDP, the Okpebholo-led APC government lacks a coherent security strategy, opting instead to deploy state power against unarmed citizens rather than confronting criminal gangs through intelligence-driven policing and coordinated enforcement. Coming up next is Foreign and Sport. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying tuned. Now to the rest of the news. On the foreign scene, US President Donald Trump has been briefed on a wide range of combat and military tools for use in Iran. Two Department of Defense officials told newsmen that long-range missile strikes remain an option for a potential US intervention, but have also presented cyber operations and psychological campaign responses. President Trump announced a 25% tariff on goods from countries with commercial ties to Iran, as rights groups say more than 600 protesters have been killed in 3 weeks of anti-government protests. Iran Foreign Minister says Tehran is open to talk with Washington but remains prepared for war. Trump's national security team is expected to hold a meeting at the White House on Tuesday to discuss options for Iran, the sources said. Although it has not been stated whether the president himself will be in attendance. According to reports, the US president had earlier said that his military was weighing very strong options to intervene if more protesters were killed. He added that Iranian leaders had called him to negotiate, but the US may have to act before a meeting. On sports, the Super Eagles yesterday relocated from their cave base in Fez to Rabat and held a closed-door training section at the Mohammed IV football complex. The team had previously been based in Fez after moving from Morocco following their 2-0 quarter-final victory over Algeria. The Super Eagles made Fez a base camp and played their first 4 games, including the group games against Tanzania, Tunisia, and Uganda, as well as the round of 16 clash against Mozambique. They will also hold their last and official training for the match on the 13th of January 2026 at 6:15 p.m. same venue. And that's it on the news. Many thanks for staying tuned. I am Kasitoni. Bye for now.